Welcome to the Thought Leaders video blog, where industry executives share their insights and vision in today's landscape of live entertainment.
Hi, Lakshmi.
Hi, Callista.
So glad you could be here and do the tech talk with us today. I'm so excited. We've been talking about this for quite some time. So let's dive right in. But first of all, how to say your name, both of them, properly.
Lakshmi Ramaseshan.
Ramaseshan. See, I haven't even said that out loud yet. So good to know. So can we dive into what we're talking about today? But maybe we need a little bit more context about who you are and what you do at Paciolan and why this topic of psychological safety is something that you have been championing since the day you started.
Yeah, I'm an Agile coach at Paciolan, and I work more at the organizational level. So I coach all of the teams. I coach some leadership, some product, and some business team members, depending on what's happening in the organization. But I really value safety because it's sort of almost the foundation of any collaboration. And I know it's a big word, but it's actually really simple to build safety once you're aware of how to build it. So I really value safety because my passion is to build high-performing teams and a high-performing organization. And if you think about it, collaboration is everything, right? Being able to work together in an effective way where you have the give and take is so powerful. So if you're really trying to focus on how do you build an organization that's really collaborative, safety is where it all starts.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great opening because I do agree it is kind of a big word and I kind of know what it means just by listening to those two words together, but would love to get into it. So, but even before that, why is this topic important now? Because I feel like it probably is, given the year that we've gone through and the year we're currently in. So I'd love to hear from you, like what that's been like and why, again, you've been doing these sessions with us across the company. And so how has it been hitting a nerve and things like that? So I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, that's such a great question because the timing could not be better. I mean, I think it's always relevant, right? But I think with the year that we've had and the struggles we've had as human beings, it's really relevant now. So I think about it in three aspects. If you think about it in the context of the world, there is a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. There's a lack of safety when you think about the pandemic itself. How do we view ourselves? Which side are we on, right? There's a lot of lack of safety and friendships and connections have been strained because that conversation comes up and it's not always, a bed of roses, right? So it's super relevant. When you think about the organization you work in, there's a lot of anxiety about, are we going to work from home forever? Are we going to go back to the office? Oh, I miss those water cooler conversations. Am I going to get a chance to do that? But if you're on the other side and you actually love working from home, what if you are not on the same page as the organization that you're part of? And what does that mean? Are you going to be able to have the courage to say something? So safety comes into play there as well, right? And then if you think about it in the context of your team and who you work with, safety is really important because we've all developed different behaviors over the last year. And now we've all got used to it. It's been a year and a half since we've been doing this, right? Is that going to stay? Is that going to go away? Is that going to transform into something else? So there's lack of safety there as well, and then, I always think about sort of relating all of this to real life because a team is just not who you work with. Your family is your unit, is your team. Your friends are your team, right? as long as you're coming together in some meaningful way, that is a team. So I feel like it manifests in all aspects of our life, which is really profound.
Now, that's a really good point. All the different contexts and levels of interactions, and how, when we're talking about this, we're not just talking about in the context of business or our teams, but also bleeds into, all these other formations that you talked about.
Yeah.
So can you say a little more about what does it feel like or look like when you do have psychological safety, when you have safety in those environments?
Yeah. So for me, the way I think about it is it's really having the courage to be your authentic self, right? And being able to say what's on your mind in a respectful and kind way. That is being safe, right? It's basically that fear of not being judged, right? And that you don't have any fear of retaliation, right? And it's just that simple. And I think that when you think about safety, it sounds like a very foo-foo word, because you think, oh, it's all a bed of roses, everyone needs to be sweet, but that's not it, right? You have to learn to be comfortable to talk about what you're not comfortable with. And that's when it means you have true safety in a conversation, because I can tell you that I don't agree with you, or this particular thing we're doing it's not actually working for me, right? We need to work in a different way. Obviously, respect comes, into play. You want to say that in a respectful way. But if you have the courage to do that, then you're really safe, right? In that conversation.
That's a really good point. The courage to say that you are uncomfortable. So it's not being comfortable always, but
yes,
having enough there to say, no, can I say something about it? And I think that helps me understand the flip side of my question, which is, how do you know when you don't got it? Right?
yes.
How do you know when you're in an unsafe environment?
Yeah. And I think that is something that once we are aware of what safety feels like, you'll know when you're in an unsafe environment, right? Because if you feel uncomfortable to say something, you feel like you don't really have a voice, you don't feel like you're valued, right? Then there is a lack of safety there, because you're just not able to show up as your authentic self. And that's so powerful, because if we can't show up the way that we want to show up, then it's not as meaningful to us, right? The connection is not as valuable. You're not able to do magical things together. So it's very simple, but so powerful.
Have you ever felt unsafe in workplaces or anything like that? Like, I guess I'm trying to find like a real life story in there that we could relate to.
Yeah, I think from a workplace perspective, any situation where you feel like you're shut out, people are not listening to you, they're not giving you a space to share your story, and your contributions are not valued, you're just in an unsafe environment. You feel like that it builds almost like a toxic environment. And you want to sort of get away from that. And you can shift it if you start being authentic, but then it's a two-way street, right? You can be authentic and you can invite others to be authentic. But if they're not able to do that, then you can only do so much to change the conversation and the dynamic.
Yeah. Which you're following where my head is going, which is, yes, you might want to be able to recognize when you are safe or not safe. But also, this sounds to me like what you're saying is this could, if you are in an unsafe environment, there are ways to change that.
There are
So
ways to change that.
So what can we do as individuals and as teams to foster more of a safe environment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So let's say we are in an environment that we're new in, right? And safety is important to us. Then you can start with really building safety in every conversation, So listen well, give people true feedback, give them a space to share their story. Don't cut people off, let them finish, be respectful, be kind. So it's really the simple things, but when you model that good behavior, then what you demonstrate is you are someone that can be trusted. You are someone that has integrity. And then you almost sort of create this aura around you where you're a safe person. So the next time that person needs help or needs feedback, they might reach out to you because they feel safe with you, right? And that's how it starts. It starts with building that safety in every conversation, every connection that you have by being your authentic self. And that's how you can invite others to be authentic. It doesn't always work with everyone, but for the most part, it does.
Yeah, can you tell us maybe, because again, those are like really good, like sort of principles, but do you have stories from your own life, or maybe like you've again, you've been talking about this for a year, I feel like, with us. And so maybe examples from our team that you've seen, and how people have changed and shifted. It could be any example, really.
Yeah, I have a different example that's not really like
Okay.
a workplace example. It's about this band, the Queen band, right? And so I don't know if you've seen the movie Bohemian Rhapsody.
I have not, so you have to tell me a little bit about it.
Okay, so it's basically a life story about Freddie Mercury, who is the lead singer of Queen. And it talks about how he had all these struggles initially, and he's super talented, wants to, he's an overachiever, right? But his demeanor in the initial stages of his journey was very toxic. It was very hostile because he was not somebody that was accepting feedback. He almost had this wall in front of him, right? So even though his bandmates really enjoyed playing music with him because he's very talented, they really didn't enjoy the experience because it felt very one-sided, right? He would perform, take all the credit, and there was no back and forth. It wasn't a rewarding relationship. So long story short, they go separate ways for some time. They have some, issues as a band, like all bands do, right? And then they come back together. But by this time, he's done a lot of self-reflection, and his demeanor and how he shows up changes. He's more open. He admits his mistakes. He's more open to feedback. And now his bandmates are able to work with him in a more harmonious way. So if you think about it, going back to sort of psychological safety is not just all a bed of roses. It's not just about being nice. It's about being candid. It's about being authentic and saying, I made a mistake, and that's okay. You can be vulnerable, and it's about learning from each other and getting true feedback. So this band had the same set of people, but the shift in how Freddie Mercury behaved changed the way this band performed and worked together. So safety shows up anywhere.
So basically what you're saying is watch Bohemian Rhapsody in order to get the concept really down.
Really. And then think about it and you'll be like, oh, this is what safety looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would venture. I mean, I think, again, this is a great topic. Thank you for talking about it with us like all this time, and also just showing up today for this to get recorded. So I'm a big believer in it myself, and I'm so glad that there's a champion of it amongst us. But I think I would venture to say that this is something, again, people intuitively know. People have experienced before. Maybe they just don't have the proper names and labels for them, and
Yeah.
don't really, like you say, there's people who try to be the safe person, but maybe not sure, um, how to make it more of a culture, how to
Yeah.
make it actually be how the team operates.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you've got insight into that, or if that's true. Just my observation.
Yeah, I think that that's really powerful, because if you can start to really think about building safety in every conversation, then when you show up in the context of a team, if you just be your authentic self, you can invite others to be that, right? And that's so powerful. I think we always forget that we need to be in a perfect environment to be a perfect person. But no, be your perfect person regardless of the environment, because then everybody else almost has the permission to show up in an authentic way. So when you think about it in the context of a team, it's the simple things, be on time for a meeting because you respect everybody else. Be authentic, share true feedback. Tell people when something doesn't work for you. Ask for something different. Like if you don't agree with something, if you don't say something, no one else is going to be able to read your mind. So it's really important to establish that authenticity in every conversation and every team dynamic.
It's funny because when you say that I think about my home, my domestic relationship.
Yes.
I can't read your mind. You have to say what you need. So all that to say that it does apply, and I feel like I resonate with, if I don't feel safe, then I don't speak up for what I really want. I
Yeah,
try to guess what the other person wants.
absolutely.
Um, so no, this has been really illuminating. I know we've talked about this many times before, but every conversation I have with you about it, there's something a new nugget in there for me. So thank you.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
but I think we should keep talking about this. Maybe there's a part 2 in here somewhere.
Mm,
Um, so let's end for today, but I would love to hear, this is a question I ask everybody on Tech Talk. What is something that has been making you happy this week that you can share?
I think for me, I get a lot of joy when I'm working on something meaningful that will help my organization, my teams. So this week I've been sort of thinking about how to come together and talk about the next steps of our journey going into the next fiscal year. So really creating a vision for our teams, which is really exciting. So that's what I've been working on this week, and I'm excited to share that with the organization soon.
Wonderful. Can't wait to see it. And I would love a preview. Just kidding.
Absolutely.
Um, no, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much. And we will be inviting you back and talking more about psychological safety. Do you think do you know what you would like to talk about next? Maybe we could tease it.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Callista, kind of playing into what we talked about today. Maybe the next step would be talking about it more in the context of our organization and
Sure.
how that really helps us build a better organization, build better products. So there's a lot there that we could tap into.
All right. Part 2 and 3 coming up.
Perfect. This has been such a pleasure.
Always fun to have you and see you and talk to you. So thank you, Lakshmi.
Oh, thank you, Callista.
Okay. See you later.
Bye.
Thank you for joining the Thought Leaders video blog. And remember, everyone can step up and be a leader in their own way. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Okay, Lakshmi, what did you say? What were you saying?
I don't know why I said the Queen instead of Queen, the band, but I couldn't go back. I was like, okay, just keep going, Lakshmi.
All right, that's it. That was funny.